Yo, welcome back to the channel. So we're putting a new barrier around this rental house. We could do it with breeze blocks, but it's very expensive and it's not my land. So we've done it with these cheap panels. They cost £1, $1 a panel. So very, very cheap to do that. So that's what we've done there. So if you're looking to make money in Madagascar, why not think about renting a piece of land or a building like this? Now, obviously, the people who own this land, they've just put the base in here, right? But they haven't got the money to complete it. And it could be left like this for 10 years, 15 years. So why not say to the owners, listen, rent me that. How much is it to rent this and use your well and have access to the garden so I can park a vehicle here, grow some flowers and plants, make it look nice? How much do you want for this? For me to rent it for 15 years. You do a deal, a cheap rent. I mean, it should be like a peppercorn rent, like, you know, like $1 a month or something you rent this for. And then you can build a house on this base and rent it out for 15 years. You collect the rent for 15 years. After 15 years, you can either do a deal with the owner and say, I'll put the rent up, I'll give you this much rent, and you leave the tenant that's in here there, and you still make a bit of profit. Or you give the keys to the beautiful property that you built for them back to them and say, there you go, bye bye, on to the next one. You'll find them all over Madagascar. In New York, I think they have like roof rights where you can buy the roof of the buildings and stuff like that. There's no reason why you can't do that here. Here's the roof to this rental house. Now, there's no reason why somebody couldn't come along and say, this is nice, how much do you want for it? It's got nice views, it's a nice little property, I just need access to this staircase here, access to the garden for parking, maybe I'll have this little bit here for parking a car. Great, what do you want? You do a deal with this, you build them a 4-bedroom house on here. After 15 years, you hand them the keys back and say, there you go, you've got a finished property, thank you very much. You collect the rent from renting it out to foreigners for 15 years. It's a nice passive income once you built it. Fair enough, you need some start-off capital, but to build this and put the roof on it and paint it, put electric in it and everything else, you're going to be looking less than $10,000. So let's say it's $15,000 and you get a 15-year contract. That's $1,000 a year you need to get back over those 15 years in rent. So it's less than $100 a month. So if you rent this for $500 a month or $400 a month, say, you're making a $300 profit every month for 15 years. It's not bad. It's a nice little income. I mean, obviously $300 isn't everything, but if you rent this one and you rent this one and you rent this one here, you've got 3 all in the same area. You're making nearly $1,000, maybe $1,000 a month off that for building, just investing a little bit of money now. So that's what I'm thinking of doing, moving into that sort of business. Obviously you need to make sure that the person you're building it for owns the land, and then nobody's going to come along and say, that's my land, get off, because that'd be a big problem, because then you've invested a load of money, you lose your money. But as long as the paperwork's secure, you can check that out with a notary. There's notaries all over Madagascar. It's basically like a lawyer who checks out property paperwork, make sure it's right for you. So you can check it out, make sure they own it. You can do a contract with the notary, which is a legal binding contract. So it's yours for 15 years, 20 years, 11 years, whatever you decide. Obviously, you have to do the mathematics and make sure that everything works out and it's going to be profitable. But I don't see any reason why you can't make a nice little life doing that. Nice little business doing that. You don't need to own the land. You don't need to, I mean, in Madagascar, it used to be 99-year leases, but I'm pretty certain in the last few months they've changed them so that foreigners can get lease property. They can rent a piece of land for 33 years, build what they want, but after 33 years you've got to give it back to the Malagas. Now, unless you've got a Malagas wife or husband, it's not that great a deal anymore, is it? Because 33 years, you know, it could take you 3 or 4 years to build. Then you've only got 29 years left. And then you know you want to sell it in 15 years later, and you got like a contract of 14 years left on it. Who wants to pay a lot of money for a 14-year contract? It's basically you're down to renting, aren't you? You know, it's not yours anymore, is it? You know, unless you can increase the length of the lease, but then you've got to negotiate that price and all the rest. So maybe renting from the Malagasy units, bases, and the rooftops of their properties where they haven't got the money to finish it could be a perfect little business plan in Madagascar. I like it, and I'm thinking about doing it. That's what I'm thinking of doing, but not right now. But it's one of my plans. Thanks for watching Business Opportunities Madagascar.